and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
This is true. It is damn good coffee and it's hot. Good morning, people. I am your loyal dog. It is Thursday, August 4th, 2022. Letting the hair grow a little long here, if you can see that. I'm becoming a hippie because I'm lazy. I'll take care of it today. Got a show tonight at Bayview in Freeport, New York. So I'll have to be all trimmed by then. Get rid of this long hair, this hippie long hair. Anyway, hope it's a great day wherever you are. It's a beautiful day here. Summer's still going strong. Dog days seem to be waning. The dog days where it's just so oppressively hot and humid, but still summertime and party time, potty time, as Eddie Murphy said in My Girl Wants to Party All the Time, Party All the Time, Party All the Time. Today, Rocky El Paso will be my guest. He was supposed to be the guest. I thought he was supposed to be the guest on Monday. I'm still pretty sure that's what we agreed on, Monday, August 1st. He thought August 4th. So he should be with me at 10 a.m. today. Expecting William Conway to pop in, do some guest hosting stuff, talk about what's going on with him. I know he's in South Dakota doing a couple of shows last week. I hear he's performing his one big hit around the country now, Lay Down Your Guns. I have more music for William to sing eventually. Been really slacking on the original music. I have stuff in the can I've been working on. I'm kind of slacking a little bit in the last couple of weeks. Last night on Mind Dog TV podcast, Tony Wall was my guest. Tony Wall is the founder of Noesis. Noesis is a humanitarian nonprofit dedicated to the idea of human sustainability. And he was talking extremely high level. It seems to me, now I don't want to disparage the guy. It was a very great conversation, and I don't want to say anything bad about him. I'm just going to come away with what my takeaway on this stuff is. I asked him a couple of times if he was an optimist, and he said he didn't really answer that, but you would have to be an optimist to think that there's anything we could do to save humanity from extinction. And he was quoting some numbers. 5 billion species have become extinct in the time that we know about. In the time that we can measure, 5 billion species have become extinct. And it's all about evolution and what he calls human injury. And he's basically because, and it's an easy concept to want to hold on to, in that we are blameless. We are not flawed in his view, as religion puts us, as man is born to original sin, flawed. We are broken. We are injured because at some point we decided to become acquisition minded, getting things, holding on to things. So you really, it borders on religion, it borders on science, it borders on cultism. I'm not exactly sure what the whole discussion was about. It's one of those ones where I went in expecting one thing and got something completely different. And I'm still trying to make heads or tail of it. Like, what exactly do you mean? Now, but the big questions I had are, all right, if we get humanity, which is a big problem, we have to get humanity to agree on the things that he's saying. You're never gonna get all of planet Earth on board with any single idea. But the idea of evolution, we know that there are millions of religious people who believe in creationism and don't believe in evolution. And his premise was, we don't get engaged in theory, we engage in fact. And he wanted to talk about evolution. And I was like, well, evolution is a theory. I know that it's close to being scientific law, but it's not. It's a theory. It's a damn good theory, and I happen to believe in it, but it is a theory. So we can't say, and we're not going to get into theory. We're just going to talk about fact and then bring up evolution. And you're never going to get everybody to buy in. Never, never. I mean, I hate to be a defeatist, but you're never going to get the religious people, the creationists, to buy into religion. It's just not going to happen. And do you need them on board to save the planet, save humanity? And give me practical steps that an individual, a person can listen, a person listening to the show last night or watching the show last night can do to improve humanity's chances of not becoming extinct. Give me something specifically I could do. I'm not sure he ever answered that. But the bigger question that I asked, and I asked it kind of jokingly, but not jokingly, half a joke, half in and half out, is, if we become extinct, don't we deserve it? I mean, you talk about 5 billion species that have become extinct on this planet in the time that we know about it. If we drive ourselves to extinction because we were arrogant about climate change or whatever it is that will cause, or nuclear war, or whatever it is that would cause our extinction, if it happens, don't we deserve it on some level? He says no. There's no blame in his, and that's a tough, it's a Pollyannish outlook on things. We can't blame anybody for decisions that we made. Well, everything comes back to this human injury concept that he. So I'm not sure what to make of it. I have to look deeper into it. The noesisproject.com. You want to check it out, or check out last night's program. Let me know what you think, because it was baffling to me. I don't know what to make of it. It felt, again, like introducing some science and scientists into cultism. It didn't. Listen, he didn't try to recruit me, but I think the website is all about getting people on board. I don't know how they make money. It's a nonprofit, but that doesn't mean they don't make money. People who work there get paid. In a nonprofit doesn't mean everybody who works there doesn't make money. This is a really curious thing. Anyway, um, that was the show last night. Hope you will check it out and let me know what you think. Um, all has been quiet, relatively quiet, on the January 6th stuff since the last hearing that they had. And that doesn't mean that shoes aren't going to drop. I was thinking about this last night. During Watergate, there would be moments of, I guess it's all going to blow over. And then something big would come out. Oh, 18 minutes of tape are missing. Um, so I think what you're seeing here is, quiet before the storm in some cases. I think what's going to happen, because there is a grand jury working on an indictment for Donald Trump, a federal grand jury. There is stuff going on in Georgia looking to indict him. It's going to come down when you least expect it. That quiet Tuesday afternoon. I think it's in the song Sunscreen. The biggest events in your life, the most significant moments happen when you least expect them. A quiet Tuesday afternoon or something like that. This is what's going to happen. All of a sudden, when it seems like, oh, we haven't heard about this. It's all blown over. With regard to Trump now, going to feel like it's all blown over. And next thing you know, um, the FBI is going to be showing up at Mar-a-Lago with a pair of handcuffs, big fat handcuffs, to take out a big fat liar, big fat, big fat traitor. uh, so mark my words on that. That's going to happen. So, not necessarily they're going to show up at Mar-a-Lago, but something big is going to happen when you think it's all blown over. Nothing's going to happen. Now, we've talked about that in length, and I don't think Trump is going to do any time. I don't think he's going to do any time, but I do think he's going to be indicted. And I think that's going to cause a whole. You think we're divided now, and okay. Part of what Tony was saying last night on the program was it has, everybody on the planet is feeling anxiety about the world as it is right now. And here in America, we've never felt quite so divided at any point in our history. That's what he said. And I think that rings true if you're living in the moment right now and you're experiencing what's going on in America. That rings true. But as I mentioned a couple of times this week, I've been re-watching on streaming television here on one of Amazon Prime or something. Ken Burns' Civil War and Vietnam together, going back and forth, because both of those came at times when America was more divided than it ever been before. Same language. Now the Civil War was obviously completely divided in ways that we're not going to experience again, because it won't be North and South and East and West or any of that kind of stuff between neighbors, as I discussed earlier in the week here. But the Vietnam War thing was interesting because at the end of, and I don't even know how many episodes I'm in now, because I've been going back and forth between them. At the end of one of the episodes, it comes to a point where Nixon is president. He just won the presidency, but or no, Nixon is running for president, and it's during the time where LBJ decided he's not going to run, and Bobby Kennedy gets assassinated. Right before that, Martin Luther King got assassinated. There's shootings and riots in the streets of America. The DNC has a riot in Chicago. We're losing the war in Vietnam. The headlines are as bleak as fuck, and there's riots on college campuses. There's riots in the streets of D.C., and where National Guard is being called in, and military is being used against people protesting the war. And the narrator says, again, using the same language that we're hearing over and over again, America has never been this divided at any time in its existence. Well, here we are saying that again. But I think about that, and it's saying it felt like everything was coming apart, like the nation was falling apart. And on the nightly news, that was the feeling people got. And here we are 50 years later, and the nation hasn't come apart. We're still dealing with some of the same issues: unjust wars, racism, all of that kind of stuff. Still fighting some of the same battles, but we're still here. So maybe some of the doomsday stuff, and we've heard doomsday stuff forever. Maybe it's just hyperbole. Maybe it's not as fatalistic as we perceive it in the moment. That's possible. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying, you know what, looking back now, 50 years, 50 plus years, we were using the same language and had the same bleak outlook about our prospects as a nation, as a world. Pretty compelling food for thought, something to think about. That the more, and then 150 years before that, we were saying the same thing. We've never been this divided. A really bleak outlook. They didn't even have news and real news in those days. It took days to get your news back in the 1860s and 1870s. But also, they miss out on, or they don't mention, the good things. And while all that stuff was going on in America, with the riots in the streets and military being used to against its own people in our nation's capital, in Washington D.C., the National Guard is using military weapons on civilians. All that going on. They're not mentioning that at the same time, 500,000 people converging in Yazgit's farm in New York to have a party in celebration of peace and love. Very odd juxtaposition of two kind of strange concepts: a nation at war with itself and a nation celebrating peace and love, with 500,000 people going to a show, a 3-day concert. Very weird world we live in. And the more that's why you gotta really pay attention to history and see what has happened before. Puts things that you're currently going through into some sharper perspective, I think. Perhaps not. Maybe I'm totally wrong about that. Anyway, chat room is really quiet. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, Dean. Dean's preparing. Our friend Dean. Our thoughts are with Dean tomorrow. He's a little nervous about something every man his age must go through. It's a rite of passage, and I'm sure it will be fine. It's a little uncomfortable today with the prep and all of it. I'm talking about the old camera up the poop shoot. I'm sorry to put it that way. And we were talking about that a little bit yesterday. There's got to be a better way of detecting ass cancer than sticking a phallus camera up your ass and scoping around. There's got to be a better way. I mean, with other, and that's the only place where, and I think the medical profession is just being a little too kinky here, because that's the only place where they look for cancer in such a uncomfortable way. You know, women get cancer in the front there. They could, but they don't. They don't make women go for a a camera up the vag when they turn 50 to look for cancer. I think it's kinky. There's some kink in the medical profession. They like sticking stuff in guys' asses. And are women? No, women aren't going for colonoscopies, right? Only men. I think. I might have that wrong. I gotta check that out. I don't know. I've never heard of a woman getting ready to go for. So it's not just ass cancer, I guess. It's well, I know it's prostate cancer, and of course, women wouldn't be subject to that. But it's just curious to me that they like sticking cameras up guys' asses. Speaking of sticking cameras up guys' asses, let's do one right now.
Hey, your
Really?
favorite turd.
What? Where are you getting that energy from this so early in the morning? Why?
I I Insanity usually is where I get my energy from.
Okay. Uh, so I was just talking. Our friend Dean, who co-hosted the show yesterday, he's got his first colonoscopy tomorrow. He's a little nervous about it.
I've never had one.
And how you're not 50? You're not 50 yet, right?
Yeah, it used to be 40. I'm so glad they extended that to 50. I get a few more years.
But I'm thinking, first of all, there has to be a better way to look for cancer. Several years ago now, when I used to listen to terrestrial radio last, there was an ad for full body scan to find cancer. It was like a big machine you walked into, like an MRI, and this
Right.
scan would find cancer anywhere in your body. And now I guess they have abandoned that, or maybe it didn't work out so well. But there's got to be a better way to try to detect ass cancer than sticking a camera that is shaped like a dick up men's asses. No.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it would be, man. I mean,
Yeah, well, like those scans that they do, because they have other when they look for cancer in other places.
what if they
They,
made like a pill you could swallow and then and then after it exited, it gave you data.
you shit out a camera, yeah, no, yeah, or a SIM card. You shit out a SIM card.
Right? Yeah, that gives like the what's up on your intestinal tract.
That would be good.
Yeah,
But I think it's kink. I think the medical profession is just full of kink because women get cancer in the vag or in areas related to the vag, but they don't stick colonoscopy, a phallus up their vag with a camera on it to look for uterine cancer or any, I think
are you
it's
sure?
I'm not positive about that, but I've never heard
Right.
one of.
I mean,
I've
I
never
could
heard
ask
of
my
it.
sister. She's unfortunately going through that stuff right now. Maybe now's not the time to ask her. But but yeah, I don't know what the process is. I try
Kelly's
not.
misunderstanding what I'm saying. She's saying that they don't have cancer. I'm not saying they have cancer. They have all kinds of cancer. I'm saying they don't look for it with a cock-shaped object by sticking it in you. That's what I'm saying.
Oh my god.
No, and yeah, and like breast cancer, they feel for it, right? So even like the finger with the glove on it should be able to detect lumps in your ass, like whatever. They don't
Right.
need the whole 12-inch camera. It's not a fun thing. I'm sorry to get Dean all upset about this, but it's not a fun because you got to drink this dye for a day and a half before you do it. Makes you really it's gross. It makes you shit like crazy. Like for the next 24 hours, he's just like liquid shitting, cleaning himself out, and then and then they they do that, and then you after you're done, it's like uncontrollable farting. You have no control over because I guess it loosens up your ass muscles that hold farts in or something. So, but you're like
Right.
just oh, it's
Well,
not
yeah, they want those muscles loose so the camera can get where it needs to be. I'm sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, see, the women are getting all upset that I'm like saying they have it better than now. That's not what I'm saying. I wasn't saying that women don't have to go through procedures. I'm saying that
I
the
don't know. A
medical
pap smear seems like it wouldn't be all that fun to go
It
through on a
wouldn't be
regular
fun. No,
basis.
I agree. They go through things that should not have to go through. That's not the case I'm making, and I know women are taking it all wrong about that. I'm saying I think the medical profession is kinky towards men in a homophobic way, in a homosexual type of way, where they want to put things in our asses because just for the fun of it, when they don't really have to.
You
That's what
mean
I'm
like
saying.
the doctor that's checking you for a prostate, and when you ask him what it looks like, he gives you two thumbs up?
Right. Or the guy who goes to the proctologist and the proctologist finds a bouquet of flowers in his ass. He goes, you got
Oh,
a bouquet of flowers in your ass. And the guy turns around and says, "Well, read the card." Um,
William
yeah.
Conway. I'm the floral bandit.
Oh, I forgot. Oh yeah.
You got Carnation Conway on this table, sir.
So now that I got all the women in the audience hating me, thinking that I think I said they got it easy or whatever they think. You had shows a couple last week, right? Or was it this
I
week?
did.
Yeah. And
I had shows last weekend. I got showed this weekend. I had 2 shows last weekend. This weekend I just got the Friday show. Uh, but yeah, we did the Icon and we did Valley Springs, which was a really good venue. I was actually surprised at the venue at Valley Springs. They got a nice room there. Um, and then this Friday, tomorrow, we have Whiskey Dicks in Sioux City, which I have never been to Whiskey Dicks, but I hear very good things.
Whiskey Dicks.
Yeah, that's the name of the venue.
That's the name of a condition you get. Right?
Yeah, it's also the name of a mountain in Washington State.
Whiskey Dicks.
It's Whiskey Dick Mountain in Washington State. I actually wanted to go live over by George. There's a town called Wenatchee, Washington. It's over by George, and it's right at the base of the Whiskey Dick Mountain.
So the Whiskey Dick Mountain comes up like this and goes like this?
I think there is some curvature, yeah. It's a flaccid mountain.
Oh, I can't believe they would let that fly.
I mean, back in the day, they let people name shit whatever the fuck they wanted to. And I mean, dude, the town, I grew up 30 miles from a town. We played them every year in football called Esterville. To this day, their team mascot name is the Midgets, the Esterville Midgets. And there's not a little person in that town, probably. Like,
right. Like Kelly's still upset, thinking I was saying something about women. You missed the point entirely. That's not what I was saying. I was saying I think doctors, especially proctologists, are probably gay. That's what I was saying. And so they're just looking for dates. That's what I think. Proctologists are looking for dates.
I mean, if that's true,
nothing
maybe
wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But listen, I don't have anything problem with proctologists being gay. But if that's the case, just be upfront about it. Say, you got a nice ass. I'd like to stick something in it. Don't give me this whole I'm looking for polyps. That's with a telescope or and a camera. Anyway, I can't say anything without being misinterpreted. So yesterday, yeah, I posted a video from an old show I did with the guy named David Monster. I'm sorry, and David had written a book called Rowdy Armstrong, Gay Wrestling Champion. And when I had him on the show, and he's a gay man, and I was talking about his book, Rowdy Armstrong, and I said, really, what's the difference between gay wrestling and straight wrestling? It's all the objective is the same, right? The objective is for the guy who wins to rub his junk all over the other guy's face. Is basically how wrestling goes. You get on top of him, you rub your balls in
yeah, no, that was actually. I think that might have been one of the reasons I didn't become a wrestler, because I thought about it when I was like 18. I thought about going to a wrestling school, but I noticed that like a lot of times during the pinning or whatever, there's a lot of crotch to face action.
There is. That's
there
absolutely.
is.
And so David agreed with me. He said, yeah, all wrestling is homoerotic. If it didn't, they'd be wrestling in clothes. They wouldn't have to get into their like skivvy underwear, the tightest tight whiteys or whatever they are, and oil up and all that stuff. That's all homoeroticism. So he agreed with me on that. So yeah,
and I mean, especially when you think of like some of the characters that they've had. Like, I mean, I don't know how much wrestling you're familiar with, but like Ravishing Rick Rude was very sexual. Val Venus was very sexual. Like they've had a lot of like, it gets pretty ridiculous sometimes.
Right.
That's why it's really why I quit watching.
Yeah. And whatever. But so I said that I thought all wrestling was kind of gay, but
Yeah.
again, nothing wrong with it. I'm talking to a friend who is a gay guy and very open about it, and writes homoerotic novels.
Right.
And so I was talking to him about that, and he said something that I laughed at. He said, "Listen, the book is not all just ass fucking; it's a lot of romance and stuff." And I cracked up about it, and the way he just said, "It's not all just ass fucking," and
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I laughed hard at that, and I got probably a dozen emails from people calling me a homophobe for laughing at that joke. I was
Well,
like, "What?"
okay. So like, I don't know. You remember the movie Brokeback Mountain?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes, I
okay,
did.
so when this movie came out, like I was forced to watch it by my who is my wife now, and we were living with her gay female roommate and or her lesbian roommate, I guess is the word, and who's and super amazing, nice person. But I don't want to watch this movie. There's no real reason that I want to watch this movie. They want to watch the movie, that's great. But like they pretty much demand that I sit and watch this movie with them. And my wife regretted it for 3 months because in that movie, there's an argument between Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal next to a lake, and there's something that happens in there that I like got up, paused the movie, lost my shit, went on a tirade because I couldn't believe that I heard a man say to another man, "Why can't I just quit you?" I was like, "What the hell? What in the hell?" I'm like, that is not something a guy is ever supposed to say to another guy. That seems, you know what I mean? Like, but I grew up different. I grew up different. There's
Yeah,
uh there's there's nothing wrong with being gay, but I just can't ever imagine myself feeling that way about another man. Like, why can't I just quit?
no,
And
yeah,
so like every time my wife would start to get on my nerves over the next 3 months, I just look at her and be like, "Why can't I just quit you?"
I don't think I've ever said that to a woman ever. Why can't I just quit you? Because I did quit them. I would just walk away. That's
Yeah.
I never saw the movie, but I that line was iconic from it. I mean,
Oh my
that's the
god.
one that people would repeat all the time.
I
But
I died. I died.
yeah, for straight men,
It's hard to wrap
because
our head around.
yeah, it is. It is. And no matter how open you are to people's lifestyles,
Right.
it's just it's hard to kind of process that kind of stuff. We did not grow up with it, and whatever. But
Yeah.
that doesn't necessarily make you a homophobe. But that I don't. Nobody knew about that, so you didn't get hate mail. Now you'll get hate mail. Well, if they can
Yeah.
find your email address, you'll get hate mail for saying that.
It'll just lump in with all the other trash mail I get.
Yeah.
Like I
Um,
hate checking my email now. I probably have like 5,000 unopened emails.
I have accounts I don't even check, but
Yeah, I mean,
uh, my main email it's insane. I gotta clean it out because I fill up my quota every day. That's how much email I get. It's insane the amount of email I get. Most of it is business related stuff, but it's really unbelievable. Like people don't want to call. That reminds me, I got to call a drummer today after the show today. But this is the thing with I'm finding with musicians, they don't want to have a human conversation ever. I was looking for a sub drummer. I get text, I get personal messages from Facebook Messenger. Like, can we have a phone call? I'm scared of people. Like we can't fucking talk ever. I mean,
right.
pick up the phone and just hammer out the details in 2 minutes rather than back and forth texting or private messaging or whatever. It's weird. People are afraid of human interaction, old fashioned humor in
I mean, they're
interaction.
not used to it anymore. It's just like uh you used to it used to, at least when I grew up, of course I grew up in a smaller community, but I mean it used to be you could talk to a stranger you encountered about something that was happening around you, and they didn't look at you like you were some freak because you were initiating conversation.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. In New York, people are just not open to strangers anyway. They're not. They're not
Well,
it's not a friendly town.
yeah, no, so I've heard.
Yeah.
I
Um,
got yelled at in LA. When I lived in LA, I got yelled at for interfering with this old man that like had hit his head and was trying to leave, and I wasn't letting him leave because he had like this. He would like I could tell the dude like I was standing outside this grocery store, working for a company. We had a table set up. We were selling stuff, and I had seen this guy come in, and when he went to leave, I noticed he wasn't going the same direction and he was kind of stumbling. And he ends up stumbling into one of the bases of a light pole in the parking lot and he smoked his head on the concrete base of this thing. I ran inside right away to tell him to call 911. And then I went out to go check on the dude. And he's got like this purple goose egg on his head that looks like it's pulsating, to be honest with you. Like it was moving, I swear to God. And like he's trying to get up, and I'm like, sir, you should just stay down. Paramedics are going to be on the way. Please don't move. And he is adamant. And then, by the way, I also noticed that his bag is 2 vodka bottles. You know what I mean? That's what he went in there to get. So this guy is definitely drunk, probably. You know what I mean?
or
And
working on it.
so, right, yeah. And so he's adamant about trying to get up. So I help him get up so that he doesn't further injure himself by falling over again or whatever. And then he kind of figures out where he's at and he starts making his way to his car. And when he went to get into his car, I didn't let him leave. And by this time, there's a little bit of a crowd starting to gather around because there's commotion, you know what I mean? And you know, and people are like, hey man, if he wants to go, let him go. And I was like, no, I'm not letting this dude get behind the wheel of a car. Like it's not happening. Paramedics are on the way. They need to check him out. If they say it's okay, whatever, you know what I mean? And then, you know, people were starting to get mad. And then some other people were like, no, you can't let him drive. You know, but to me, I'm like, you know, yeah, this is LA. Yeah, people mind their own business for the most part. But I know the situation. I know what's happening right now. And I know that the likelihood of this guy getting behind the wheel and passing out because of this head injury is very high. So it is irresponsible and reckless for me to do that as a person.
Look
You
at
know what I mean?
you
And
being all Mr. Responsible.
but listen, this is what we all need to do. If we all did this kind of shit, dude, think of what better fucking place we'd be in. You know what I mean? If we just fucking looked out for each other and didn't let fucked up shit happen.
All right, now you sounding like the guy I had on last night.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Only not
Ha,
really like.
ha, ha.
Dean's a little upset with me for saying New York City isn't friendly. He said New York City are lovely people. He said lies is what I said. Lies. And which is odd because he's not really from New York. He lives there now, but he's not originally from there. And him defending it, whatever. No, I could see that there are different perspectives on that, and there are some nice, very nice people. But for the most part, talking to strangers or befriending strangers is not a common practice in New
Right.
York City.
I mean, I'm a weirdo though. I'm definitely a weirdo because I'm the kind of like it's something my wife thinks is strange. Like I can go anywhere and talk to anybody. Like I've never been afraid to do that. I've never been but I do get some pretty there are some people that are off put by it for sure.
Right. Now, I just got to ask this because of your situation. Um, Even though you want to do the right thing sometimes, having the cops show up and just misinterpret the situation, that's got to be a little bit nerve-wracking for you because, I mean, let's face it, the cops could just decide that you're in the wrong there, whether you're in the right or wrong,
Right.
and throw some cuffs on you, and then all of a sudden, because of your past, that complicates things. No? Or
Oh
you like,
sure.
yeah, that would be a
Oh
little.
sure.
Yeah, the last thing you want is any more of that going on, and
Right.
so that makes it harder to be a good citizen. Yeah, or no?
Uh Not really because like it's just like it's so cemented into who I am. But there have been times where like something was happening, and like my wife will grab my arm and tell me not to get involved or whatever. And if my wife does that, I'll usually pretty much listen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that you're just kind of that kind of person, or you're not. And I think it's ingrained in who I am. Because like I turned in. I remember also when I lived in LA, I found some kid just walking all by himself crying. And so I went to the closest 7-Eleven and I called 911 and like said, hey, there's this kid. I don't know what's up with him, but he's all alone. And and I turned him into the authorities. And I waited like probably over an hour with that kid, so that and I bought him like a soda and some chips or whatever. I think you're just that kind of person, or you're not. You know what I mean? But like when I see
Yeah.
that kind of shit, like
Uh,
I do something because if I was in that situation, or if it was my kid in that situation, I pray to God that somebody else would do something and not let my kid get taken off the street or whatever. I'd rather they get turned in. Yeah, whatever. And but I don't know. I'm just that kind of person. I do the things that I pray to God somebody would do for me.
right.
You know what I
Now,
mean?
I want to talk to you about that because I was waiting for this moment to kind of ask you this. Um, I have been that kind of person to some extent, most of my life as well. Some of it, and I do it for the right reason, not expecting anything to come back. But when you say, I do this because I would want somebody to do that for me if I were in that position, right? You're paying it forward. But it's when it doesn't seem to happen, when you're destitute and you're out there and you've lost everything or whatever, you're in a situation that's really bad, and nobody's reaching out to you with the same kind of humanity that you reach out to people with when you find somebody in that condition. Does it jade you and think, well, you know what, maybe people just suck?
I mean, for a time, sure. You know what I mean? I think it's only natural to kind of feel that pang of why isn't someone stepping up for me?
Right.
Um, but if I wait long enough, somebody does step up. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's not always in the timing that I would prefer or want.
That's a good way
Um,
of looking at it, man. That's a good way
yeah,
of looking at it.
but
Yeah.
but in truth it always does step up for me, and I'm very fortunate to have a very wide network of people that love and care about me. I've received tremendous support, especially recently. Um and and so like there are times where you get downtrodden, you get destitute, but you just have to hold out. You just have to hold out, you
You
know
said again, you're sounding a little bit like my guest who was on the nighttime show last night, and the subject was human sustainability, basically how the planet is going to survive itself, how human species is going to survive on planet Earth,
Oh,
and
I think we're totally fucked in that regard.
you do. I do
Yeah, I
too.
do.
I do
Yeah,
too. I'm a
no.
pessimist, and I was trying to explain to him where my pessimism comes from. He founded a organization called
Logic,
Noesis.
probably. I don't know.
Yeah. But basically he's talking about, if I can try to sum this up in as quickly as I can. His theory about this is we all evolved from the same people in the same. So basically, he's talking about evolution, and he's asking everybody to buy into evolution. Now, I said right from the start that's a flawed plan because you have all these religious people, creationists, who are never under any circumstances going to buy into evolution. But so
Bro, you can't get the whole planet to agree that the fucking thing is round.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly,
you'll never
yeah.
get everybody to sign on to one exclusive idea.
So
It's
I
just never
asked
going
him,
to happen.
does buy-in is it necessary? Are you saying that it's not necessary to get these people to agree to things? Because for a mindset change in humanity, I would think we'd have to get everybody on board. But he was kind of hedging. He said, "Well, I wouldn't put it quite that way, but really, when it comes down to it, no, we don't need everybody to agree." All right. Well, that's a tough thing. Talking about global change. but he's talking about. So we all started in the same place in Africa, and moved out. And he said it's built into mankind's DNA to be collaborative and to assist and help. So we migrated around the globe. People moved, and it was all a collaborative effort. People helping people move, and there were no conflicts and no wars at the time, which I find hard to believe. We weren't there. How do we know there weren't conflict and wars? But he's saying what
Right.
causes wars and conflict is once we got to every corner of the globe, we had people in every corner of the globe. We became stationary and became acquisition minded. In other words, I'm going to get land, I'm going to get animals, I'm going to get all this stuff. Once we became acquisition minded, we created haves and have nots, people,
Right.
better people and lesser people. And that's what causes conflict in the world. And we need to get, beyond that. It's like, so you're going to ask people who are acquisition minded to not be acquisition. You're going to tell Elon Musk to stop caring about money, or or any, or poor people. You're going to stop. You're going to tell poor people it'll be all right. The rich people are just going to be fair about things from now on. Like, no, I don't have a lot of faith in
Faith in that
humanity.
idea? Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Good luck,
And
Chuck.
But yeah, he was trying to play mathematics and science, and almost like it's a new religion. It's like, you know what? But there are enough religions, or else. And he wasn't claiming it was a religion. That's what I was putting
Oh,
it
but okay, I have to mention this. So I jokingly, very, very jokingly, said something shortly before I left for my trip to my wife and son about, I think I'm going to start recruiting for the cult on this tour. And they both dead stopped, looked at me like I was serious. And I'm like, oh my God, it was a joke. It was a joke. Like, I don't want to start a cult. That's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like, I was like, why do you even think that that would be a serious thing I would say?
That it's a
Like,
really difficult thing. I don't starting a cult is not an easy thing.
well, I can't imagine it would be, but I was just jiving, you know what I mean? I was just
No,
like,
I get it. Yeah.
throwing, dude. Okay, so one of my favorite things to do is what, like, something will happen and I'll be like, what is the most inappropriate thing I could say right now?
I
And it
know.
just,
I
you
have
have
that
no
way
idea,
too.
like, it flies into my mind with lightning speed, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, it's like a game that I play. And like, I don't know, it was like one of those moments we were talking about the trip or whatever, and like what some of my plans were or whatever. And I was like, I think I'm gonna start recruiting for the cult on this tour. And like, they
Yeah.
both just like, they believed it right out the gate. I was like, oh my God, that's terrible. Why does that seem plausible to you? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Do you surprise yourself with some of the dumb stuff you say sometimes? Because I'm like you too. I think sometimes I say the most outrageous thing a human being could possibly say in that moment, and even as I'm saying, I'm like, why did I say that?
oh, see, I said, okay, here's the thing. I say it on, okay, I don't know why my mind is weird. I like to fuck with people.
Me
And
too. I know
yeah,
I'd say it with intention too, but afterwards, I'm like, man, maybe that was the wrong thing to do.
I mean, I've lost most of the part of me that gives a shit about that anymore. Every once in a while, like, especially to my wife. To my wife, they're like quips that I'm just like, no, not that one.
Yeah,
Not that one. Like, that one's too much. You know, like,
yeah,
but I have to catch those pretty fast because I generally just let them fly. So there's not a whole lot of buffering between when it goes through my mind and comes out my mouth usually.
yeah,
So I gotta be pretty on top of it for that.
yeah.
But my wife my
Developing a
my wife
filter
is
is not
pretty,
easy.
yeah, she's pretty tolerant to what she puts up with though. Because she knows I don't mean it. She knows that when I say outlandish shit, that's not something I mean from my heart. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean
Yeah,
that shit.
yeah. No,
I'm just,
and I've done it all. Sometimes I will say stuff that is so fucking far. It's so offensive to everybody, and I know I'm doing it. I'm like, I want to. In the back of my mind, I got this little devil saying, um, "Do it, do it. You're gonna. This is gonna be great. You're gonna set the whole fucking room on fire." And then after I do it, I was like, "Man, what the fuck happened to me there? What was that little devil on my
No,
shoulder?"
no, no, no. You gotta do it. This is why I do it, because the shit is funny. And the reason my wife and most people and shit like that, even in my friend group and stuff like that, dude, I'm quippy all the time. I say fucked up shit to people constantly. And I
Right.
get away with it because it's fucking funny. Like no
I,
matter how wrong it is,
I feel you.
no matter how wrong it might be, there's a part of everybody who heard that shit that goes, that is fucking funny.
No,
You
you're
know what I
absolutely
mean?
right. Yeah.
Whether they laugh, whether they say it out loud, all of that shit. I know it fucking happens.
But do
You
you
know what I mean?
defend it? Because I'll give you an example of where I did that, and people gave me some backlash, and that just made me more adamant that I'm just gonna even be more offensive if this
Yeah,
is
I
what you're
double
gonna do.
down. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you say something to me, I'm gonna double down.
right,
Like every time. And
right.
that's actually probably the one aspect my wife doesn't like, because when we're out in public and I'm being that way and somebody says something to me, she's like, I have no chance at controlling him now. like because she knows that once somebody said something, then I'm engaged and it's a pissing match.
Yeah,
And
nothing will piss me off other more than somebody saying, trying to control what I can say, trying to be funny, and just tell me I'm inappropriate. You think that was fucking inappropriate?
right, yeah, I'll show you inappropriate. Yeah. We're gonna be talking about your mother real fucking soon. I do have a like battle thing coming up online on the 10th. I'm doing like this it's like it's like your mama's so ugly, your mama's so fat, and your mama's so stupid jokes.
Wow, that's
That
the
I'll be
10th.
doing
That's
online.
Wednesday night.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that.
How's it being done? Like, are you like this? Is it like like StreamYard or
Yeah,
Restream?
I'm not sure what service it's on, but yeah, it's gonna be streaming. It's gonna be live. I'm pretty sure.
Is it yours or
Um,
somebody else's thing?
it's somebody else's. Unfortunately, I don't know a lot about it. I have to. I was actually thinking how I need to look that up today so I can prepare. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Is is it all your mama jokes or no?
I mean, so like, yeah, like I don't think it has to be your mama, but yeah, basically, you're so stupid, you're so ugly, and then your mama jokes. Which
Well,
I mean,
that's safer when it's online.
yeah, I suppose so. I suppose so. My mom's dead, so it doesn't matter. You
I
know.
know, mine too, but mine for a long time. But it just, yeah, no. Some people could get really offended that with that. Yeah, not just the your mama stuff. It's just the total insult stuff. Because the roast battles, I think, like I get it. I get it. It evolved out of actual roast. The Fryer roast became like Comedy Central roast and all that kind of stuff. And people love that
Yeah,
good-hearted jostling back and forth.
yeah.
But
I've been roasted. They roasted
sometimes,
me like a year and a half ago. I got roasted at Boss's Comedy Club in Sioux Falls.
wow.
Yeah, it was cool. It was
I
kind
guess
of
that's
like,
an honor to be roasted, right?
yeah. I mean, but like, there's a lot of love in that Sioux Falls community, and like um this this group of people, and they just, I think they try and do like a yearly roast. So they pick a comic that's like, pretty well known in the community. This last year they roasted Zach Dresch, who was I mean, he's a phenomenal talent. I don't know if he's gotten a hold of you yet. We should totally have him on the show. That guy does everything.
Yeah,
But
I gotta start getting a different group of people on the show. Not that I'm happy with all the guests that I've had, but I want to get more. I want to get more porn stars. I want to reach out to
Bro,
porn
I
stars.
mean, I have like girls that do burlesque stuff and
No, I
stuff
want
like
real
that.
porn. I want real porn stars, like famous porn stars. I've had one or
Oh, okay.
two. I've had two, but
All right.
they weren't. The premise wasn't necessarily about the porn starism. Although we talked a lot about what the work, but not deep into it. Deep into it.
Right.
But I definitely want to get one or two more of those because I have questions. I have questions about things. Now, the one I had on most recently was she had started her own podcast and was doing well, was getting a lot of attention because she was using her real name and trying to have non-porn star type um, conversations about real issues and stuff, and was getting, but everybody knew who she was and seeing right through her real first name, and I thought a lot of the attention was coming just because she was a porn
Right.
star, and
Right.
so there's that part of it. So I know I want to talk to real, but she was a mother, when she got married and had a kid, and a son, a young son, and I couldn't ask, but I wanted to ask. One of the few times I punked out about asking a question, like, what are you going to do when your kid becomes 12 years old or whatever and sees mom like sucking 50 dicks online somewhere, you know?
I mean, I mean, I think most young men, if they saw their mother,
Sucking
they're
50 dicks.
they're gonna scroll as fast as they can, bro. They don't want to see that. It's not like they're gonna sit and watch the fucking thing.
No, but wouldn't it you know,
Well, I mean, dude, people have a lot to, I mean, I don't
I
know.
walked in on my mother and father having sex one time, and it still haunts me. It still haunts
Yeah,
me.
no, I did too, and it haunts me. Matter of fact, I'm fairly certain I caught the conception of my little sister. I'm sure of it. In fact, that's
But
probably I was probably the reason he forgot to pull out. You know what I mean? Like,
but yeah, but that's fine. I mean, that's not fine. It definitely scarred my psyche a little bit, but
right.
that's natural. But to see your mother on film taking dicks in
I
the
mean,
face like a gangbang.
there's nothing you can say. There's nothing you can say. Yeah, I
No,
mean, you just
you can
say,
go to your psychiatrist and
time.
say, "I just saw my mother getting hit in the face with cocks from every direction."
Oh
And what
man.
if it's forget about the son now? Okay, she's got a son now. He grows up and he has children. Now, now imagine grandma getting hit in the face with cocks from every direction.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh
Well,
my
you have
god.
that now. These porn stars from my era are now old ladies, and some of them are
I
still doing it, still in
I'm
porn.
yeah. I don't know what to say right now.
I know, I know. It's just something this is why I want to have porn stars on because I want to ask them about. And the other thing I wanted to ask that I didn't ask was like, if you're in that and that's your job, and you get called to do a taping, do you get to choose the guy? And can you say no? No, I don't want to fuck him. Get me a, that.
I bet you can say no. I don't think they probably get to choose the guy necessarily, but I'm guessing they could probably say no.
Yeah.
Cuz I mean, it'd be pretty fucked up if there was a situation
Well,
where they
they
told them
could.
they couldn't.
Well, no,
You know,
they could just not take the job. Of course, they say, "Oh, no, I'm not doing this," and walk
right.
off. But
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you want the paycheck, this is the guy, and you have to do it with him. And if they ever had to do that and like try to fake that they were enjoying it,
Oh, I'm
even though,
sure.
yeah, that this is I'm not into
Dude,
this
believe
guy,
me, those porn stars aren't always enjoying it. Not always.
I don't think it would be the
I
same
mean,
if
dude,
the other way around
there's
for
times
the male
I'm
porn
bored
stars,
during sex. That doesn't happen to you.
huh?
You never get bored during sex. I mean, sometimes. Never mind. We're not gonna
No,
get into.
I understand what you're saying. Yes, I have faked an orgasm just to say.
Yeah,
Just to
Yeah.
say, okay, I'm
Like
tired. I want to get.
women think
It's
that
time
that
to go to
shit don't
sleep.
happen, but it fucking does. Believe me.
Yeah, we've been here 2 hours, and I'm thinking about other things. I got a lot on my mind.
Right.
I'm checking out. It looks like our guest is in the back, but he turned his camera off, so I don't know if he's ready or not. Oh, there he is. Rocky El Paso is a comedian, but I don't know. He's got Rocky El Paso Live, which is a podcast live stream show that I don't believe he's doing anymore. But he's also doing some comedy work. He's with us now. He's from Kentucky, I believe, Louisville, Kentucky. Let's welcome him. I thought he was going to be here Monday. I was wrong. He's here today. Rocky, welcome.
Yeah, sorry, I don't have my equipment set up, so I'm using
That's fine.
my phone.
You sound good. You look good.
Oh,
Well, yeah.
you're so sweet.
So Louisville, Kentucky. You doing stand up comedy regularly in Louisville?
I have had a bit of a hiatus. I had some personal stuff come up, so I've taken the last few months off. That's why the show's kind of stopped as well. But I'm getting back into it. So yeah, stand up comedy, do the Rocky El Paso live show. Trying to get everything back rolling again.
Now, you have two Facebook pages, the Rocky El Paso Live, and then your personal page. On it, it has you listed as radio and broadcast engineer. Are you in terrestrial radio or just or this kind of radio? Or digital
No, that's
radio?
a bullshit title I made up for myself.
People have those. I get them too, and people. I had a really stupid thing that I was a rocket scientist who graduated MIT, and people were. I had MIT people call me alumni and all that, fellow alumni. I was like, no, dude, this is a fucking joke. Anyway, stand-up comedy scene in Louisville, Kentucky. What's that like?
Oh, it's rough, man.
I would think so.
Yeah. Turns out you have to be funny to be successful.
Oh,
Son of a bitch.
That's a good thing, I think.
That's a crock of shit, man. I thought I was just gonna jump in and make money, you know?
Yeah. No, nobody makes money in comedy.
Believe me, even if you're funny, you're not necessarily making money.
Well, yesterday, Corbin LeMaster was on. He's been at it for 4 years with 2 years off for COVID. Where the scene kind of died. But he's touring with Mark Norman now. So, and I don't know, that doesn't necessarily mean he's making good money at it, but 4 years in, I think that's a huge success. So there is some case to be made that it's not as long a grueling effort to try to make it work as I tend to believe it is. Because I see people working 10, 12 years without getting any compensation at all. So in Kentucky, is there clubs? A lot of comedy club scene? You work in are there bars to work? I mean,
there's a couple of clubs. We have 2 clubs, but a lot of it's it's bars, and then some of the local guys will actually set up shows at different venues like bars, and just hell, there's one outdoor thing they do. It's tough because there's a lot of comedians and not a lot of gigs.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that's the state of the world today. And I think again, coming back to Corbin yesterday, he said we need less comedians. I think doesn't the universe take care of that on its own?
Are there a lot of comedians, or are there a lot of open micers? Because there's a difference.
Oh yeah, good
that's
point.
That's the thing that people keep forgetting.
Yeah, there's a lot of open micers.
Yeah.
Right. Because to me, like, I don't care how many open micers are in the scene. To me, the comedians are the ones who, would I book you on a showcase and pay you? If I would book you on a showcase and pay you, you're a comedian. If you just run around to all the mics and you do the same 5 minutes for 3 years, you're an open micer and you're not a comedian. Stop calling yourself that.
Wow.
That's a very good point.
That's I've heard that people define comedian a lot of different ways. I think that's probably one of the best ways that I've ever heard it defined.
I mean, it's pretty cut and dry in that way. You know what I mean? Like, if I would book you and pay you, you're a comic. Otherwise, you're an open micer.
That is
Yeah.
a solid point. Yeah.
How how long do you think people can stay at that open mic level without realizing nothing's happening? And the average like length of time before they figure out this isn't for me. I suck at
totally.
this.
I think it totally depends on ambition. I
Oh yeah.
really don't necessarily think that being booked and paid on a show means you're funnier than other people. I think it just means you actually are attempting to take that next step. Because
Yeah,
there's a lot of
you're
times
taking
when,
the art seriously. You're taking the art
yeah,
seriously.
exactly.
Yes.
It's all about that ambition. Like you gotta, if you wanna, like actually do it, you can get on a paid show. You ain't even got to be that funny. It's not that hard to get on a paid show if you are talking to people that are putting on paid shows and you're letting them
Uh,
know like, hey, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be. A lot of people show up late and stuff like that. You're on time. You're on time. You're consistent, and I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of that in it is a business, and in any business, networking and connections are important. Making friends and just having people know you're going to show up. They say in any business, showing up is half the fucking job, and so there are people. I get your point on that. So if you have the right connections, you can get on shows, and if they know you're reliable enough. I'd rather have no be sure the guy's gonna show up than have a really hysterical guy who might not show up, might not,
That would suck to book a headliner and then motherfucker not show up at all.
yeah, yeah.
Right. And I've seen that
Interesting,
happen.
interesting that William said you used the word art because I've had a couple of people on, successful people. Steve Byrne, I think, was one of them. Sam Talent was another who rejected the term art when I called comedy an art form. They don't see it as that. I don't know exactly how they
How
do
is it
see it.
not art?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
It's
I
literally
don't see
art.
how you could say that at
Creating
all.
something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really probe it that much, but I definitely put it out there that because I considered it an art form. Because whenever I talk about comedy, I say it's the bravest art form there is because stand-up comedy, especially not just improv, is different. You're going up with other people, and that could be nerve-wracking. But stand-up, going up alone, where all you have to hide behind is a wire and a microphone,
I
it's fucking
love
scary as
it.
shit. Yeah.
I love to face my fears though. I'm like one of those people, if it scares me, I'm all about it. Let's go do that.
Wow. Wow. Good for you. Um, so do you work clean, Rocky?
Hell no, I'm not
Okay.
clean. I try to be clean. It
Yeah.
don't work. I'll try to do something clean and end up saying fuck 4 times.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm the same way.
Yeah, I hate to. There are very few clean comedians that I can really enjoy. Very few. There are one or two, but most of the time, if somebody's working too clean, it's just boring to me. It's like I might as well go see a Disney movie or something. For me, maybe I'm just a dirty old bastard, but for me, I prefer my comedy to be a little bit adult, a little bit, provocative, and talk about adult things. Talking about your kids and bacon and cheeseburgers or whatever the fuck they make jokes about when no clean comics. It just doesn't do it for me. It's like, yeah, okay, it's silly, but it might as well be knock knock jokes. Kentucky, as far as marijuana, is it legal there?
No, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
No, that's
It's
the devil's. That's the devil's lettuce.
oh
No,
wow.
No,
no
we
shows in
don't fuck
Kentucky for
with
me.
that green mind altering herb. I don't know what the hell people are doing.
Well, this is where I'm going with this. So now the attitude in Kentucky, would you say it's extremely conservative and extremely uh,
You know,
tight?
we're a conservative state, but everybody smokes weed except for me. So I don't.
Really?
Well, yeah, it fucks me up. I can't do it. I don't
No,
mind it.
no, I was not talking. I'm not shocked that you don't. I'm shocked that the state does. Because
No,
when I think of
they're
Kentucky, I
so
think of
like,
bourbon.
yeah, everybody drinks and we're all out of our fucking mind all the time. That's that's the problem. Like everybody's always smoking, everybody's always drinking, but weed's not legal for some reason. It doesn't make any fucking sense. I thought we'd be one of the first ones to legalize it, but apparently that's not the case.
Kentucky's always been a weird state, hasn't it? It's. Do you think of yourself as a southern state? Is Kentucky a southern state? Because I know in the
I would
Civil
say
War it was a
most of
northern
it.
state.
Like I live in Louisville, and Louisville's like the city part of Kentucky. But I think most of us still consider as a southern state. Like I think 'cause everybody wants to say we're a southern state, like oh we got our guns and shit, but like we don't act like a southern state.
Right. Yeah. So in terms of comedy, though, do you have like a scene? I don't even know how to put this, but we have places where we have more edgy comedy in certain places, and in clubs that are known for in New York City, especially edgier comics, and then safer, touristy. Uh, you don't have a lot of tourism in Kentucky, do you?
No, not really.
So with the comedy clubs that you do have, are they segregated by edgy or safe,
So
clean
we have two comedy clubs, and
in
one
the
of the
whole
comedy
state?
clubs in all of Louisville, we have other
Uh,
stuff in Kentucky, but it's like a couple hours out. You might as well just go somewhere else. Like we have two in Louisville that like are like legit. We have the Comedy Caravan, and we got the Louisville Comedy Club, which just opened. I mean, I haven't really actually been to that one but once, and it's new, so I
yeah.
really don't know much about that one. But the Comedy Caravan, it seems to be the same comedians performing on a regular basis. They have you know they rotate, but there's like a few people there that kind of are regulars, and that's pretty much who you're gonna see.
Budsy says
And
Kentucky grows a lot of hemp, and Delta 9 THC is derived from hemp and legal in Kentucky. I don't even know what Delta 9
Delta 9 is like it's what do you call it? Diet weed.
diet weed.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's
Uh and that's legal. All right. So it's weird that it's going on. So you don't smoke when you or get high at all when you're writing writing material just straight as an arrow, not drinking nothing
no, I drink. I drink a lot.
when you're writing comedy though, or coming up with material.
Actually, I have a buddy that does comedy as well, and a lot of times when I'm writing, I'll have him there with me, and we kind of spitball ideas back and forth.
That's
Um,
unusual.
yeah,
Not really.
we
You
uh
s-
we we, I'll run something by him, ask him if he thinks it's funny, and he'll tell me no, and then I'll make it funny. That's pretty much, and that's the same thing with him. Like if he says something I don't think it's funny, then the goal is we work on that concept until it's funny, and
uh,
then that's a lot of what we do.
well, you said not really. Now, what I'm
Yeah, I
not.
think there's a lot more people collaborating and writing together. I mean, I pretty much every scene that because I've ran, I kind of go all around, and the scenes that I've seen, pretty much every like and the comedy page, like you go to a state, like there's a Sioux Falls comedy page that you can, or a comedy group, and then there's like a New Mexico group. You get a part of these. There's like there's posts about writing collaborations all the time.
Right. No, I'm not doubting. I didn't really mean that collaboration is unusual. It's unusual for somebody I asked on this program when I ask about writing comedy and creating it for them to say that they collaborate, because almost always it's like, well, I get an idea driving in the car, I put it on the phone, that kind of stuff. Nobody has ever said I sit with somebody else. And that's the first time actually anybody said that on this
That's
program.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times, and I'll be at work, I'll come up with an idea, and I think it could be funny, and I'll get home, and be like, hey man, what do you think about this? And he's just either it's funny or it's not. And if he says it's not, that means I got to work on it. And if he says it's funny, then I just add to it.
This came
Yeah.
up yesterday where I was talking about the idea that you come up with something and you really think you believe in it. It's really funny, right?
Hmm.
To you, and then you try it out and it doesn't get the response you want. How long do you stay with it, trying to refine it? Do you stick with it forever and never give up on it, or
I give it a couple months. I will go up several times at open mics and stuff just to try it again until I can get it right.
Yeah. What about you, Will?
Yeah.
Do you hang out forever?
Okay. So I don't know if you call it. I'm I had a joke that didn't work that I really wanted to work, and it just it was too much. It was too much for people. And then
You gotta tell us a joke.
oh, I don't know. It's really bad. Um but I blasted it to a paying crowd one night, and because I was like, I don't care, I don't care if this thing doesn't get the laughs I think it should. There was one table of three guys. They were practically falling out of their chairs, and then the rest of the crowd looked at me like I had just murdered someone. And I was like, okay, I'm never doing that joke again. That's it. That's
But now, see, the three guys falling out of the chairs would be vindication that the joke is good. It's kind of have to
um
measure the
it
room a little bit.
I think it was just it's too real for the crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that you gotta.
Basically it's a story about masturbating at work as a telemarketer while you're on the phone. And
Right there, I'm laughing.
I basically, yeah, no, because I mean, dude, I basically do the script that I still remember from 1998. I basically do the script while like faking masturbation, and I mean the coming and everything, and it's
Now
too
I love
much.
it. I
It's
love
too
it.
much.
No, it's not
It
too much.
is. It's fucking hilarious because the
Come to New
whole okay,
York and do it. I guarantee you that goes over in New
I
York.
know. Okay, dude, you have no idea how bad I want to come to New York. New York and me would love each other because I'm exactly like I never belonged in the Midwest. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I was not like at home there. Like I'm way too crass for these people.
What about you, Rocky? Do you want to, get out of Kentucky at all and hit the road at any point, or no?
I I'd like to hit the road, to be honest with you. My problem right now is my job. I'm I'm kind of stuck in a job that it pays me too much damn money, honestly. And it's hard to leave.
That is a pitfall. I mean, the safety net that we build ourselves. I constantly talking to young people who are going to college and working on stand up comedy, and like going to college is like, why? If you know you want to be a stand up comedian, a degree isn't going to help you at all. It's just a fallback, and it's going to almost guarantee that you end up working in whatever the degree is for,
I
rather than.
mean, I don't know. I think if you do maybe business or marketing or something like that, I mean, do something that's beneficial to the comedy career. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you could learn some stuff like that, but the thing about it is, if you have a safety net, you're going to land in a safety net, and
Yeah,
sometimes having a career and good money coming in will keep you from actually going out and doing what you need to do to be more successful in what you
Sure.
want to do. You
yeah.
know, that's a big part of it. So yeah, so that's a difficult thing. So you're getting back into it now. You're doing podcasting, or you're resuming your
We're
Rocky.
planning to start up Rocky El Paso live here in the next week or two. Because I do that. Have you seen the show at all?
No, I haven't. I just well, not live. I've seen what you got on the on that Facebook page. There's
Yeah.
only like
So
3 episodes or so.
me and Toby, that's actually my buddy I was telling you about that I run the jokes by. We've been trying to get stuff set back up so we can start doing that again. And then I want to get back into the stand up scene. I've been out of it for quite a while now. We've had a lot of shit just going on, so I'm want to get back into it and get on some shows. But like I said, it's been a few months. It's probably been five months now.
Right. The name, where'd it come from?
Rocky El Paso.
Yeah.
I was at work one day and I decided I wanted a different name. So I changed that to my name on Facebook, and then I ended up meeting a lot of people through Facebook. and they just assumed my name was actually Rocky. So I had some friends that actually thought my fucking name was Rocky after like 3 years of knowing me and hanging out with me. So,
The El
uh,
Paso part, though. Texas? Have you been to Texas? I mean, where did El
no,
Paso?
never. It just sounded good. I was like, yeah, it sounds.
What the?
There's literally there was no fucking reason. It was just bullshit. I was like, and
Oh
then
my
I
god.
thought to myself, like I don't want to associate myself with my work. I don't want people to associate my page with my work because like, people know that I work where I work. I don't want them to associate me with it, so I just changed my name and like that way, like I'm not related to work at all. Like I don't put my job on there. Like nobody knows. Like there are people that know where I work, obviously, but like not most of my following. They don't know where I work.
I think
And
that's a good thing sometimes to keep your personal life and your comedy life separate.
yeah, because
Not
I say wild shit.
Yeah, yeah. It's a difficult thing for to do sometimes. I had a guest on who didn't. She wrote a book, and I tried to find out anything about her. She wanted to come on and talk about a book, and her book was a personal book, a memoir, and she was using a pseudonym, basically a pen name, and there was no information about her, and she didn't want to answer any questions about herself. Like, why are you writing a memoir and making yourself a public person and want to keep so much private? That's like an impossible task to do. So,
Yeah, I just keep my job private. That's it.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
weird.
So, what are your future goals? Are you looking to be a stand up comedian? You're looking to be a television host, a radio host? What
Man,
is
if everything goes perfect, I would love to just do stand up comedy. I fucking love stand up comedy, and that would be my end goal. And my biggest problem right now is I have not dedicated the time to it in the last half a year because of my job,
right?
and I hate that.
Yeah,
There's been some illnesses involved with people that are close to me, and I've worked more in order to help with that, and it's yeah, fuck that shit. I'd
yeah.
rather just tell jokes.
Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Now, what you said there, that's interesting because I think that's changed. If everything worked out, I would just prefer to do stand-up comedy. In the past, and I'm dating myself here, but everybody knows how fucking old I am anyway, so it doesn't matter. But people got into stand-up comedy as a stepping stone to bigger things, television and movies and stuff. Now, more people are getting into stand-up comedy for stand-up comedy, and that's all they want to do. The paradigm has changed a lot on that. I think most people who are doing stand-up now aren't thinking television and movies or beyond. You think I'm wrong?
I think it's half and half. I'll tell you what though, it don't get my dick hard. You know, what
Yeah,
gets my dick hard is somebody paying to hear me tell a joke.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
uh,
yeah,
if I can make people laugh.
yeah. What do you think about that, Will? Do you think more people are into stand-up for stand-up, or are people still using it as a stepping stone for other things?
Does that get your
I
dick
think,
hard, Will?
yeah, I think he's probably right. I think it's probably a good mix of half and half. I think there's people that, like me, I definitely want to use it as a stepping stone, and but I know others that just want to dominate the comedy scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Uh, but but I think that you know you're kind of struggling with your job keeping you like happy enough or content enough or where you're at or whatever. But um, dude, like here in Sioux Falls, they have this because I'm in Sioux Falls right now, and they have this Arc of Dreams, and there's like this gap in between it. And the reason they have that gap is they say it takes a leap of faith to make your dreams happen. You know what I mean? And if you're struggling with that, bro, I would just say that like, build yourself up a small little nest egg and really go after it. Because if you don't, you're gonna always wonder. You're
right.
gonna you're gonna always wonder, because I didn't play all my cards. Could I have made it? And that's the last thing you never want to ask yourself that.
this is why I love William Conway. When I first started my podcast several years ago, one of the things that got me started with that, I was buying an amplifier from a guy off of Craigslist. And he had an amplifier for sale on Craigslist. And I called him and he said, okay, meet me in the mall parking lot. I was like, what the fuck? It's an amplifier. I need to plug it in. I'm gonna meet you in the mall parking lot. What's all this about? And I didn't really question it that hard. I agreed. Got there early, and the guy pulled up, and right away I knew he was made of money. He was super wealthy, but he pulled up in a vehicle that cost like $400,000, and so I'm thinking, okay, he doesn't want me coming to his house because he's rich, and he doesn't trust strangers coming to his house without security. Okay, I get that. Him and his wife are fucking dressed to the nines. She's got diamonds and pearls on. They just look like they're made of money. And I got to talking to him, and he said, "What do you do?" I said, "I play in a band." He said, "Oh, you're living the dream." And I laughed in his face. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? You don't know my life. I said, I work 14 hours for a gig it's a 4-hour gig, but it's 14 hours of work for a 4-hour gig. And then I'm getting paid not great money. I'm not a rock star. I'm not rich and famous. I'm not, don't have the life. I don't have a private jet. I'm a working musician. He stopped me. He said, listen, I put my whole life into the commodities exchange. I made a lot of money, 69 years old. I always wanted to play in a band. I'm selling you my amplifier. That means I'm never going to play in a band. I'm giving up my dream. I'm selling it to you. And what a fucking profound moment. First of all, to know that this guy who's super wealthy is looking at me and would trade places with me. But the idea that he gave up on his dream and regretted it. He said, you never want to end up old and saying, I wish I would have. I wish I would have followed my dreams. I wish I would have done what I wanted to. And it was the money and the success of that money that kept him from doing that. I think that's kind of what we're talking about. If you really want to do this and that's what's going to make you happy, sometimes you do have to take a leap of faith and just say and just go out and do it. I'm not preaching to you what you should do. It's just when he was just talking about that, the arc of dreams that hit home with me because that's a real
That's
thing to
fucking
me.
wild. That is awesome.
Yeah. So there's that part. So if 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you look back and you're still in Kentucky and just saying, uh, I wish I would have. Is that going to be a satisfying life for you?
Not at all.
Yeah. Oh, we're being like therapists here, me and
I
Will.
know I'm taking to a therapy
Go
session
for it.
at 10 in
Go
the
for it.
morning.
Yeah, no. So what kind of stuff? I mean, you say I know I asked you. It's not clean. It's dirty as fuck. But what kind of things do you talk about? I mean, is it life
I talk
stuff?
about my family some. My brother's got a meth addiction, and then so that gets brought up. Yeah, one of my jokes is I talk about uh, my brother. He had brain cancer, but he failed kindergarten, and I'm like, how the fuck do you beat brain cancer but not kindergarten? Uh, uh, yeah, stuff like that. You know,
Wow, that's pretty
Oh,
edgy. But that strikes me. I forgot about meth because in maybe New York City, and I know Dean's going to argue with me again on this. New York, meth doesn't seem to be the problem that it is in the rest of the country here. We have cocaine, we have heroin, we have tons of weed smokers, but you don't hear about meth smokers. But the idea that pot isn't legal there, but you got like meth smokers all over the fucking state. That just boggles my mind.
it's a lot of it.
Yeah. Now, what I see in that drug, or I don't even call it a drug, it's like a chemical. It's not even like a drug, right? It has no medicinal purpose or any of that stuff,
Oh no,
right?
it keeps you up.
I'll keep you
yeah,
up. Yeah.
yeah.
But it's
It'll
really
keep you
like
up. All right.
like air conditioning fluid or something, right? Or Freon and all sorts of weird.
I
I
don't
mean,
know
it's
how the
made
hell
with
they
all
make it.
sorts of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but when I see it, It doesn't look like a fun high because I've seen it a couple of times, not a lot, but I saw one at the emergency room. I was taking my wife; she had some issue, and we need to go to the emergency room, and they had this girl, a meth addict, handcuffed to a chair, and it did not look like a fun high. I mean, she looked like she was a zombie, a monster, a Walking Dead. Um, uh,
Well,
Go ahead.
I mean, from my personal experience, um, it just made me not care about anything. You know what I mean? Um all the stuff that bugged me or whatever, like didn't bug me when I was on that stuff, you know? Um so
Did it make you like the Walking Dead though? I mean, like, cause those.
I mean, when you're that's more so like when you've been on one for a while and you're coming down, you look like a Walking Dead, really.
Oh
Like
yeah,
that's really what that's, you know.
Yeah, meth's a super upper, so you would think
Yeah,
like whoever's on it isn't much of a zombie. They're more of a, I mean, like the
yeah.
stereotypical crackhead, like
right.
what you would
So,
see there.
have you used any of that stuff, Rocky? Any?
No, I don't do drugs, man. I drink.
Nothing.
That's it. I don't fuck with
Nothing.
anything.
Nothing ever.
No, well,
Mushrooms. Never tried.
no, no.
Wow.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think
sounds fun, but
that's
it scares
unusual
me.
in the comedy world. Don't you? Would you agree with that, Will? That
oh
comedians
yeah, no,
who
it's
never.
Everybody does
definitely
drugs. I get offered so many
yeah.
drugs.
I bet you do. I bet you do. Especially if you haven't, they're probably like, "Oh, we want to be the ones to get them first."
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that literally like that's actually happened. Like, you never done it?
You're
Oh,
like
come
the
on, man, you got to do it with me. Like,
you're
no,
like the
no, I'm just
virgin
gonna not
everybody
do it.
wants to fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally.
Yeah.
Just want to bend you over.
Do you mind me asking how old you are?
I'm 31.
31. When did the comedy uh bug first bite you? When did you first decide that
My
that
first stand up was in 2019.
2019?
First time I
And
went to an open mic at the comedy club. Was nervous as fuck. Thought I was gonna lose it. Told some really racy jokes. I thought like it was on the edge, and I'm like, dude, this is gonna go bad. And then everybody fucking like laughed their ass off, and it was that was all I needed to get high right there. Like my dick was hard for a week. Like
right.
I was on cloud nine after that, man. That was the start of 2019. I got on the Caravan for an open mic, and yeah, it was.
But before that, now was it something you had wanted to do for a while and hadn't, and just were thinking about, or was that just an impulse of that night? You just said got a
You know,
wild hair up your
I
ass to do it.
had so for their open mic, you got to sign up like weeks in advance because they do it. It's scheduled because they put out flyers and shit for it. But the stand-up comedy thing, I'd always thought, like, people always tell me, hey man, you're funny, like you should do stand-up comedy. And then there was a couple people in high school that were like, man, you're gonna do stand-up one day. And I'm like, no man, I don't know if I'm gonna do all that. And then it always, kind of like, I should try it. And then one day, me and my buddy that I live with, we were talking, and he's my roommate, and he's like, man, we should fucking give it a shot. I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's sign up for the open mic at the Caravan. And then we did. And about 6 weeks later, we had both been. It was funny, man. We wrote out both of our sets, and we only had. I think we had 3 minutes. It was something small, like 3 minutes, and we both like fucking rehearsed our shit to each other like 100 times. It was. We're in the living room, just fucking telling each other the same damn jokes we'd tell each other all fucking week long, and it was good, man. I was pretty
So
pretty happy that
the
first time.
3 minute stuff, because when I did it, basically, I didn't even pay attention to that. But now it's different because in those days they tell you have 5 minutes, but if you suck, they'd give you the light like within 20 seconds, like
Oh
oh,
shit.
really quickly, like we think you're gonna suck, get the light and get off. But if you were doing well, that 5 minutes could be extended to 10, 15 minutes, even though you were a first time mic open micer. But when you practice that stuff, do you practice with a clock? I mean, that's a difficult thing to me to practice practice
We
timing for a short set like that.
we practiced and we paused for laugh breaks in case we got laughs. So we actually like timed that too. And we fine tuned the jokes to where we knew we would, because it was our first time going up and we didn't know how strict they were, how that shit worked. We didn't know anything about the fucking thing. Like how they told us there was a light and we're like, what the fuck is a light? Like, what do you mean a light? And then, I'd never been on fucking stage before. So we practiced and we would time each other and we would time it for laugh breaks. We give like 2 seconds for laughs and then we'd start telling jokes again. And then we were pretty much dead on when we did it. We spent a lot of time. We were very nervous and very like I don't know. We didn't want to fuck it up. We didn't want to be like idiots when we went on stage, either one of us. So it was like,
Yeah, it's
well, like we
something
know what we're doing,
new.
even if we don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't know what to expect.
it's
Now, Will doesn't ever even ask how much time they want him to do. He just shows up and
yeah.
ready to
I
do
don't
whatever.
usually know until right before, but I mean, I've been at it a minute too. Early on, I did the fact that you guys had foresight to allow time for laughter, that says a lot, because that was I remember having to figure that out when I first started out, because I was going over my time and I didn't know why, and it was because I wasn't putting in laugh breaks. I wasn't. And basically how I started doing that is when I would write, and when I would like go through me saying it in my head, I hear the laughter. You got to hear it. You got to
Yeah,
hear the crowd in your head, and then and then that clock, that internal clock, will get so good that the routine just flows out of you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it really does. So
That's
that's
what's so
awesome that you guys
fucked
do
up
that.
about online comedy to me is that um
oh, I fucking hated that.
yeah, when you see people doing stand up online without a crowd,
Right.
I think so many of them lose that. That's what Chris Montes was really good. He did a stand-up show in the beginning of the pandemic from his living room, but he had a small crowd there in his living room that he was playing to, so it was like a live thing. And there was that perfect timing for audience laughter and all that stuff. So people at home could go along. But now what they do now, or a lot of people do it, is they mute the audience on like these Zoom calls where they have Zoom stand up. They'll mute the audience so you don't hear the laughter. That's not it conducive.
Right.
You want to know some people need permission to laugh at a joke.
Did you see?
And hearing other people laugh gives you kind of freedom to say, "Okay, I can laugh at that." It's weird, but
Yeah.
You
part of
see
me,
Norm Macdonald's special, the last one he did before he
yeah,
passed away?
yeah. We were talking about that yesterday. What's your take on it?
I liked it. It was funny. I love Norm. I have a bias. I love fucking Norm. Like
I
Norm is
love Norm too.
Norm is great.
I think he's one of the greatest of all time. Where it did feel a little weird in that he was talking and not even looking at the camera, like the camera was over here a little bit, and so it was kind of weird, like, and talking with the microphone like that instead of just talking like himself, like, because when he's on stage, a lot of times he's got, well, when I saw him anyway, he was just like in front of a mic stand but still using his hands and stuff. I never ever saw Norm Macdonald do stand up holding a microphone like that. That was a
It was
little,
strange.
yeah. And the thing that got me was he was telling jokes, and he's known for a lot of jokes about gay stuff and all that stuff. This is Norm's stuff. He's been doing that forever, but he was doing jokes that Dave Chappelle was getting killed for saying. He was saying similar material, but because he's Norm, and because he's already dead, I guess he wasn't facing any backlash for it at all. Like if he was alive and he did that material, he'd probably be getting some cancel culture to come back towards him. No,
His little bit
I
about
mean,
slut shaming had me
there was
dying.
a little bit of bad press about it.
there
Was
was.
there?
Yeah, a little bit, not a lot.
You know what got me, and I've talked about this a couple of times now. Andy Richter from Conan O'Brien. Uh, they had there's a clip on YouTube that came out recently after Norm died, and Andy Richter was talking about how uncomfortable he was with Norm making gay jokes about him when he was on the couch and how he went along with it, even though, what about my gay friends who could be offended by that, or gay family? How am I supposed to explain that to him? He waits till after the guy's dead to come out and kind of voice this stuff. Like,
This
yeah,
shit went on for years. Like,
yeah,
what the fuck?
Yeah.
yeah. You had 9-10 years of him to talk, to say it to his face. You wait till after he's dead and bash him after he's dead. I don't like that stuff. That was
No, I don't
really,
like that either.
yeah, punk move. Punk move. So I lost a lot of respect for Andy Richter on that stuff. But I think Norm, and this is kind of what we were talking about yesterday. Norm wasn't a hateful guy, even though a lot of his jokes were about, gay stuff. He just found homosexuality silly. It was something
Right.
to
And
laugh about. It
yeah, it
wasn't
was
meant
his
to hurt people.
observations on it.
Right. And I think that's part of what we're seeing right now is all this backlash, the joke policing, assuming people have hate, malicious intent or hate behind it, when it's just commenting on what we find funny, and it's not
Right.
necessarily, it's not full of hate. What is your take on that, Rocky? Are you
No, I completely agree. I think a lot of people do get up in arms about shit that is not meant to be malicious at all. It's just for fun. Like we're as you're doing comedy, that's the whole, like, that bothers me so much that people get upset about comedy. So you should be able to joke about anything, in my opinion. I
yeah,
don't I don't think there should be, because when you start setting boundaries, then you start setting more boundaries, and like where is the cutoff? Like you shouldn't. It's a joke. It's not serious. It's not supposed to be serious. It's supposed to be funny, and some people are gonna. Everybody, finds different things funny, but it's a joke. It's never meant
right.
to be
And it's
serious.
it's almost always the person who, like Andy Richter is not gay, but he was assuming gay people are offended by Norm Macdonald's joke
Well,
without ever talking to the gay people that he knows and say, "Do you find that offensive?" Because I think most of the time those gay people would be laughing at the jokes and say, "No, that's not offensive. That's
Yeah.
funny."
I think what's most upsetting about like cancel culture and all this stuff, it it's generally a third party that is offended on behalf of some other motherfucker. You know what I
Right,
Ain't
right,
mean?
that the
yeah.
fucking truth, man?
Like if we could just get rid of being offended on behalf of somebody, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like that's stupid.
Yeah.
That's just
Are
dumb.
you optimistic for that? Do you think we'll ever get back to a
Fuck
place where
no.
I agree. It's so disheartening to think that we can never, we'll never give up this policing, word policing, joke policing, and it's just going to keep getting worse. And do
Right.
you want to kill the fucking art form altogether? It seems like that's what people want to do. It's really,
I mean, I'm just interested to see what the world looks like after it all goes to shit.
Oh, we're there.
Oh no, it's gonna get much worse.
all right. Now you guys are kind of touching on where I started this morning, because my guest on the show last night, very serious subject. Guy was talking about human sustainability and the fact that people in the world look around with anxiety, thinking, "We're fucked. The world is
We
fucked."
are fucked.
But I have been rewatching some things like Ken Burns' documentaries on the Civil War and Vietnam.
I should have fucking shaved my head.
Yeah, me too. I'm getting a little long. I got white hair, white long hair. I gotta shave it before my gig tonight. But both of those documentaries talked about that feeling that we are fucked and this is the end of humanity and all that stuff. So as many times as we go down that road, assuming that this is the end and no things are never going to get better, those times have passed, and here we are. The world did not come to an end. We haven't really imploded. So maybe in the moment it feels like we're fucked, but
Well,
maybe
I
we're not.
think I think that you really touched on it like early on in the show because I was listening before I came on, and that phrase "where this country is more divided than it's ever been." You're hearing that more for a reason, and I mean, um, I think that very soon it, you know, in my opinion, from everything that I've seen, because I travel around a lot and I talk to a lot of different people, and I have friends on both sides of every issue. You know what I mean? Because I don't unfriend people. There's people, like I don't stop talking to people because I disagree with their opinion. So my network of who I talk to is very wide, and I cannot imagine a scenario where we do not end up in civil war in the next, probably 2 years. If we make it 2 years, I'd be shocked.
I understand that feeling, but I was alive in 1968 and 1969 when politicians were getting gunned down, shot in the head by people, and the National Guard was in the streets shooting civilians for rioting in the streets. So at that point, we thought, we're at the most divided time in our history, and that was the language then. So we're not there in America right
Right.
now. We don't see presidential
Well,
candidates getting
Wait,
shot
how old
down.
are you?
I'm old.
well, see, this is Father
I thought
Time
you were
over
like
here.
40.
No, 63.
No shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I'm 41.
Yeah.
Hey, fuck both of you guys.
Yeah.
Look young as shit.
Yeah, I'm an old boomer without doubt. But so and the point I got to with the guy last night, and he did not want to answer this, is that I said, if we become extinct, don't we deserve it on some level? Like, I mean,
We sure
didn't we?
fucking do.
I think so. He said no. We don't. But if we just allow the human race to become extinct for however that happens, wasn't it our own doing? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
fucking A. I think so. Well, this is a great comedy show, isn't it? There's
Oh my
there's
god.
got to be some
Hey,
extinction
I
jokes that we can
I
make.
know this. I'm gonna get my kicks before the old shit house goes up in flames. You know what I mean?
Kelly saying, "Don't let him fool you. He's got dye in his mustache."
Who?
Yeah,
Oh, you. Oh, you.
The one with the mustache.
Okay.
I have dye in my pubes too.
Oh, do you dye your pubes? I was wondering
No,
about that.
no,
Okay.
no.
So I joked about that, because women always say that they find gray hair distinguished
Not there.
on your face. You
Yeah,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
When it's
No
down
gray
there,
hair.
yeah, it's weird.
Gray
It's
hair on
weird.
your. I'm like one of those cats that has no hair. What do they call those?
Oh,
I manscape very,
yeah,
very good.
yeah.
But
I mean, I trim. I don't go all the way down. I trim it down.
Oh, Rocky's reckless. I don't do nothing. I just let it do its thing.
what about the
Yep.
head? Now you said you should have shaved your head. Do you
I
shave
usually do shave my head. I've
every
been a couple
day?
days without. Not every day. I do it like twice a week.
Yeah,
Back when I had to shave that. I used to shave it every 3 days.
I have to shave every day, or I got a little bit of long hair coming today. I mean, I haven't didn't
Lucky
shave this
bastard.
morning. Yeah,
You and your fancy hair.
I'm gonna be I'm gonna be a long hair by the end of the day.
Oh, guys, check this out. Look, this is what my hair does. It's how it grows. There's like one little line here, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
one over here. It's,
Yeah,
God said "fuck you" when He made me.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about any of that stuff. I mean, I was really uncomfortable with it when I was young, but I look at it as a blessing. I really do. And I always say I'm more evolved than men with hair. But listen, I don't have to spend money on things like shampoo and all that
Yeah,
kind of stuff. I don't have
yeah.
to spend a lot of extra time drying or combing and all that stuff. To
I
me,
actually shaved my head once to save myself from vanity, because I was literally sick of myself and how long I was spending in the mirror getting ready. I was like, fuck this, I'm shaving my head, then I won't fucking worry about it anymore. I
right.
totally did that shit. I'm a little bit crazy though. I go a little too far on answers. I could have probably just used a trim.
Now, the other day I was putting an ad on for a drummer on Craigslist, and there was a ad, and I don't know how it got in the musician section. It said, "Help with manscaping wanted." Now, this guy, and it said he needed somebody to manscape him. He said it doesn't matter if it's male or female, and I'm like, is this guy just looking to like put his junk in somebody's face? Like, what? You can't shave your own ball. First of all, would you trust somebody with a razor around your balls?
Fuck no.
No, no.
Yeah,
I
not even a
mean,
professional barber, right? Like, not even
Maybe my
somebody who's.
sister.
I mean, but I would probably go get waxed though. I mean, I have a friend that does waxing. I'd probably go get waxed.
I never even considered that. That's. Yeah, I didn't even know guys did that. Wax your
Oh
balls.
yeah,
Wow.
oh
Sounds
yeah.
painful. Have you done it?
No, but I actually kind of like pain. Now that you mentioned that it sounds painful, I want to do it even more.
You are a weird kinky fuck.
I really fucking am.
So you can combine the waxing with the colonoscopy, and you got it all made. You got the camera up your ass. You're waxing your balls.
Oh man.
If you like the pain, is it awkward if you get a boner while they're waxing you?
Oh my god, I got a boner when I got my nipples pierced, and the fucking dude looked at me like I was crazy. And I was like, listen, dude, you can't be pushing metal through people's bodies for a living and be surprised by any fucking reaction I might have. But it was the girl that I went with, that I was with at the time, she paid for it. She was the one that pointed it out. I got up off the table and she points at my crotch. She's like, oh my God, Will. And he looks over, sees me pitching the tent, and he's like, dude, you're fucking burnt. I was like, what do you want from me?
Well, there's I think a funny meme on that goes around the internet where the guy's in the doctor's office and the doctor's checking his balls. He said it's not unusual. The doctor says it's not unusual to get an erection while you're getting this kind of examination. And the guy says, I don't have an erection. And the doctor says, I do. But yeah, no. That's what my thing with the manscaping guy. Like, there's no way that anybody. Well, I can never let a guy do it, but if a girl answers and a girl comes in and she's gonna help me manscape and she's gonna be shaving my balls, there's no way I'm not getting an erection while a woman is down there holding my balls up. While
I had an ex that wanted to shave my asshole, and I let her.
You are a brave motherfucker.
Yeah, dude, it was so bad because she shaved like between my ass cheeks, and then it got so itchy.
Oh,
it gets super. It does.
Dude,
it gets super itchy.
Dying, like it was terrible. I like.
And then it grows back thicker and stronger. So now what? You like got a full head of hair coming out of your ass?
It looks like looks like landscaping, like like some bushes in the front yard type shit.
It'd be really cool if you could get like the long hair, like the long '80s metal hair coming out of your ass, and you can do that like that.
Oh my god, you could
the metal
headbang when I twerk.
Yeah, headbang with your asshole. That'd be great.
Now that would be a good music video. No, or just me?
Yeah, no, I'd watch that video.
Definitely.
Oh, I got to say goodbye to Governors. The alarm rang already. They're probably going to be pissed. I'm overrunning my time. Got to say goodbye to Governors Comedy Club in Levittown, in Bohemia, and